this.
Rehearsing this for 3 weeks.
Good morning, and thanks for coming this morning. It's great, actually, to be back home. With me are some members of our 40-person Colorado Economic Development Delegation. It traveled with me to Japan and China. Many of us just got back yesterday or last night, so probably a little bit jet-lagged. This mission was a huge success, I believe, both in terms of our short-term and our long-term goals. Our purpose was to seek out new economic opportunities and new jobs for Colorado businesses and for Colorado employees here in Colorado. We focused on our new energy economy and on biosciences. Focused on tourism and tourism possibilities, where we would bring people to Colorado as destination tourists from Asia. We focused on securing a daily nonstop flight between Denver and Tokyo. I'm not sure anybody joins us from the airport, but Mr. Hancock can talk about that. We had very significant, and I would say, positive meetings on this possibility of the nonstop flight from Denver to Tokyo. We also had conversations with several different businesses who were happy about the fact that we were making progress, and quite frankly, our long-term opportunities with businesses in Japan, and I would include China, may be improved by the fact that Denver, Tokyo, and nonstop is in the offing, or we hope it's in the offing. We focus on strengthening ties between our research universities and institutions and their counterparts in Japan and China. We'll talk a little bit about that, but we traveled with people from our research institutions, and we felt very good about those conversations. We met with several companies that are looking to expand or open new operations in the United States. We're now part of those discussions that we didn't have before. Made a strong case to ANA, All Nippon Airways, for establishing a daily nonstop flight between Denver and Tokyo sooner rather than later. And the discussion was, if it happens, it could happen as soon as 2010. We elevated Colorado's profile as a national leader in the new energy economy and in the biosciences. We did seminars in both Japan and China about the things happening in Colorado around our new energy economy and our development of a clean energy economy, and the things that we're doing to build biosciences as an industry here in Colorado. The Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce signed a cooperative agreement with the Beijing Chamber. Joe Blake is going to speak this morning about the signing of that agreement. We signed 4 different agreements between CSU and Japanese and Chinese universities and research institutions. In some cases we had already a relationship in place, but formalized that relationship through the signing of agreements. We reaffirmed Colorado's sister state relationship with the Japanese prefecture of Yamagata. Those are just some of the immediate accomplishments. But most important, I think, is the long view. The mission was just one step in a long-term, persistent, and consistent strategy. People in Asia, and particularly Japan, said it's important to have a long view and to keep coming back. I don't mean that I have to go back every 6 months or a year, but for us as Coloradans to have a continued presence there if we want to do business with some of the most significant companies that we met with. There's a lot of follow-up that has to occur. Relationships simply have to be nurtured and cultivated. It is part of their business culture, and it will be part of our relationship. We invited everyone we met with to visit Colorado and to continue our conversations. ANA agreed to send a delegation this spring, and some of the Colorado Economic Development folks on this mission are going back to Beijing next year. We also need to make sure that we spread the word and educate people and businesses here in Colorado about the opportunities that we discovered while we were on this mission. We'll be working on different debriefings over the next few weeks and months in that regard. As we said before we left, we know that the United States economy is in trouble, and we know that Colorado is not completely immune from the downturn that the rest of the country is experiencing. We've seen indicators of that even while we're gone. But we believe it makes economic development efforts even more important. Efforts like this that have us going to places and looking for ways to lure companies here and to create jobs and create jobs and create jobs. That's really what this mission was about. We just don't believe that it's a time for us to pull back on our efforts to ensure that we're playing to where our strengths are in the state and creating jobs around those strengths. It's even more important in a global economy where you have really to market this state as a place of opportunity. In one of my visits in China, a business leader told me that I was the 10th United States governor to visit Beijing just this year. The governor of Oregon had been there the day before. So we know we're competing for investors who are looking at the United States and deciding if there are investment opportunities in the United States to come here and create Colorado jobs or Oregonian jobs. And for us, it's important, like I say, for us to be out there and really be marketing this state. And we believe we did that. Again, in several what I would consider to be very successful meetings, we talked about just the benefits of companies locating here in Colorado and talked about other foreign investors like Vestas or Iberdrola or Abengoa or Siemens, the German research and development company that had been able to locate its international office for wind power research in Colorado. We talked about why the Japanese and the Chinese should consider that as well. There is, coming off of a trade mission like this, there is a real sense that with some of the challenges we face that are global challenges, there's every reason for us to find ways to work together. With all of the research assets that we have in Colorado, and now think again the new energy economy. We have one of the best research corridors in the world with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, CSU, the Colorado School of Mines, University of Colorado, and the private sector research that's happening. If you take all of that and put it together, we absolutely can be part of the world's response in how we address climate change, how we address this issue of global warming. To spend time in China, a nation with 1.3 billion people, and to understand how their growing energy demand is really part of their future as they try and grow their economy at 8.5% a year. The energy needs will only grow. We in Colorado can be part of the answer in how we ensure that growth like that can take place, but with an eye toward reducing carbon emissions. We have to do that. We in the world have to do it. We in Colorado can play such an important role in doing that. And so certainly there is a social good that is a global social good that comes with that, but it creates jobs in the same time. And so it creates a better economic environment in Colorado to do that. That was really, I think, what I came home with is what I would say the umbrella benefit from this is to understand the role Colorado can play in addressing an extremely important worldwide challenge. With that, I'm going to ask Don Elliman, my Director of the Office of Economic Development and International Trade, to make some comments. He'll be followed by Joe Blake, who is the President of the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce and accompanied us, and he'll be followed by the Interim President of Colorado State University, Tony Frank. Don?
Thanks, Governor. Good evening. It's 3 o'clock in the morning where we came from yesterday, so cut us a bit of slack. I'm kidding. You know, I think when we started this trip, a number of us had different expectations about what we were going to try and what we could achieve. My basic theory, having spent a good part of my life doing business in the Far East, was that our main goal was to begin to deliver a consistent message about Colorado and the opportunities that it afforded, and to do that in two markets that offer a tremendous amount of economic opportunity for us, both in the near term and in the long term. The sort of lucky strike extra was going to be if we were able to begin to develop specific contacts with companies in the Far East or specific institutions in the Far East that we could build upon. For my nickel, I think what we found was a greater sense of common economic interest than